It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought us to the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained by rational principles the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the powerful Kingdom of England and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and he explained it in ways that were understandable to the people, to all of the people. A great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we are able to reason, we're able to talk to each other, we're able to listen to each other, and we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it. This is Rudy Giuliani, back with another episode of Rudy Giuliani's Common Sense. Today we have with us a great, great actor, an actor of tremendous scope. I mean, he's played villains, he's played popes, he's played Nazis, and he's played FDR, and he's been nominated for so many awards. I tried to count them up. I can't even count them. I don't know, 27 nominations. He's won about 12 awards. Academy Awards, Golden Globe Awards, Film Actors Award, Emmy Awards, and of course the one that I think is probably the nicest. In 2019, the president gave him the National Medal of Arts and National Humanities Award, which is for all the great contributions he made in so many movies and in so many distinguished parts. And I like one better than the other. The latest one with Ray Donovan, I think I probably like. Now I like that one the best. But number two, he's also been for quite some time a Republican, a conservative. It's sort of like being a Christian in early Rome. And I got to ask him right from the start, how did you survive, John? How did you survive? I mean, you have a full career. I looked at all your parts. Not many years you missed a good part. How did you survive?
Well, first of all, I'm very grateful for whatever gifts I have, and I work very, very hard, and I accumulated enough, important films, and got a little attention, and so it's been able to continue on. I've been very lucky, though, I have to say that too. But anyway. And there are a lot of people out here that are conservatives too. They're quiet, but they're out here too.
Does it hurt as much as we believe it does? I mean, what we hear, I mean, those of us who don't know Hollywood in great detail, is that if you're a Republican, or particularly a conservative Republican, you're pretty much it's almost like having been a communist in the 1950s. You're ostracized.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is coming from, subversion that has been directed from the USSR.
Right.
So really, we've been damaged severely. If you look back at the golden age, and I grew up, I'm quite an old fella, and when I was a young man going to the movies, I was going to see these great actors of the so-called golden age, and it's worthwhile calling it that because it has a certain distinction. And I saw these guys, Cary Grant and Jerome Power and Gregory Peck and all those good guys, and gals, Kate Hepburn and various people, and they were all conservatives, and they were very patriotic. And when the wartime came, all of those guys, were in the service, and now and I saw the change in the 60s when things turned around, and it was subversion by by the Marxists that turned it around. And we, being a free country, we're very available to subversion. We allow people in. It could be a diplomat, it could be a teacher, it could be an exchange student. We allow all these people in. We give them focus on our media, and we give them all sorts of opportunities like everyone else, and they take full advantage. And what they've done is they've converted this country from what it was to something else, where young kids are being taught socialism in their schools.
Well, you see it on the streets now over the last maybe 2 months since the beginning of the protest for the unfortunate and unjustified murder of Mr. Floyd. All of a sudden, those protests have turned into, they don't even seem to have to do with him anymore. Defund the police, have reparations, take down statues of Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln, and it's like attack America.
It's attack on America, absolutely, been coming for a long time. And they've made tremendous inroads for several generations now. And they were waiting for incidences just like this in order to come forth. And many of these, of course, all of these marches are carrying a lot of people who are agitators, professional agitators who've been trained, well trained. The people who sponsored, who started Black Lives Matter are both Marxists.
Right.
Trained and dedicated Marxists. So what does that mean? It means they don't believe in God, and they want to destroy the United States of America. By the way, I wanted to read something. I came across this thing, and this is a little letter from a dissident. His name was Thomas Schumann. Perhaps that's not his real name, but it says, "Dear America," I'm a defector from the USSR, and I have a message for you. I love you very much, he says. And I'm not alone in this love. People all over the earth, whether they praise America or bitterly criticize her, look upon you as the only hope for mankind's survival, last stronghold of freedom.
Yeah.
That's it. And I know that there are people all over the world who are counting on us to win this battle, and these are the people who know that there's only one place to come if you want to escape tyranny in the world, and it's the United States of America. So we must keep this stronghold open for all human beings, and it's a godly work. We're at it. We're in the middle of it now, and people like yourself and the president are foremost in this battle. We are leaders in this battle, and I have something that I wrote.
Oh, please, John. I'd be interested to hear it.
Occasionally, I've done these videos, and this is one, and I'll test it with you and see if I should, put this on. Let us give a blessing to America. 1776, a birthday wish, a wish that will stand in time, a gift from God. We're always surrounded by our forefathers, and we can say that our true blessings are our soldiers that fought for freedom. We can relive and hear stories of greatness and history's lessons, and this gives us hope. Let us be thankful for our gifts and for the American dream. Let us take war zones away. Let us break them. Let us sing songs, and let us hold our glasses up high in a toast for this land of great value, soil that has been brought from the gold rush to the mountains, to the highways, to live through this greatest history. The seed of wealth was planted, and we watched it flourish with water for the soil to grow, and we will keep this going. For our true love is this soil, and we will protect it from this evil attack. This is an historic time, and I ask Jesus to release this evil curse that surrounds us now, and protect our burning flag, and renew this honor for her beauty to wave across this land, that no man shall burn this flag, the red, white, and blue, for this is God's beauty. This is This is
Jon, that's beautiful.
this is oh boy, you got it. The stars of God's universe are in this flag. So let us bring faith and heroism to the ones who are weak, and strength for the old, and schools for the children to learn the truth. And let us help this great universe to lift this veil of darkness so that this country shall live free as she was meant to be.
Jon? Yes, that has to be published.
God bless America.
It's quite beautiful, and you know what I believe that's an expression of your deep love for this country.
You bet it is.
Yeah, and I know it from all the days and days we campaigned together when I was running. If you took a chance on a poor sack like me, you really are a romantic, you know?
Well, listen, you're my hero. We see what's going on in New York now, and we.
Oh, Jon, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. It
breaks your heart. What you were faced with when you came into office was something as disastrous as this in a way. You saw it in disrepair, and you put it back together, and you know what it took to put it back together.
Right.
And now we see someone who is actually encouraging its destruction. It's unbelievable.
We'll be right back with our interview of Jon Voight. When your life is in chaos, your home is your safe haven, your most valuable asset. Imagine losing your home to some online scammer. In an instant, you have no place to live, and your home, your security, your nest egg in an emergency isn't yours anymore. Is this even possible? In a word, yes. It's called home title theft, and the FBI calls it one of the fastest growing crimes. My friends at Home Title Lock demonstrated how quickly and easily online scammers can steal our homes. This is a legal title to a home in California. All home titles, yours and mine, are vulnerable. They're kept online, where thieves, foreign and domestic, hunt them. They simply print your home's title, forge your signature, stating you sold your home, put a fake notary seal on it, and refile it as the new owner. In an instant, your home is theirs. Then they can borrow against it, and you'd be responsible for the payments. Or they could try to evict you. I'm serious. Your bank doesn't cover you, and neither does your homeowner's insurance. Home Title Lock does. For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual firewall around your home's title. If some cyber thief tampers with your home's title, they're on it, helping to shut it down before you lose your home. Here's what I want you to do. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim and don't know it. You will receive 30 days of free Home Title Lock protection using the promo code Rudy. You need to do this now. Get 30 days of free protection with promo code Rudy at HomeTitleLock.com. Welcome back as we continue our interview with Jon Voight. Jon, when did you first develop your political ideas? How did you evolve to develop the very, very well thought out and very precise ideas?
Well, I have to say that I'm not alone, Mr. Mayor. And if I call you Rudy, this is unbelievable that in my lifetime I'm calling Mayor Giuliani Rudy.
Please.
Just to remind myself that I'm a friend, you know.
Well, we are friends, Jon. Very close friends.
What happened to me was very interesting. I went through a period of pretty bad behavior, and I was on the left. I just going along with the crowd. That's what these people are doing. They're really not thinking very much. They're certainly not pursuing the truth of any of these things that they're repeating, these sound bites that they're supporting. So I was one of that group for a while, thinking, not thinking very much about what I was saying, just thinking that these people that were around me that were very charismatic were in the right. And then I realized at one point, after we pulled out of Vietnam, and I saw 2.5 million people were killed in Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, and I saw these so-called friends turn their backs on everything and just walk away from it, and taking no responsibility for this bloodshed. And I started thinking differently. but it wasn't easy. It didn't come quickly, but it was an erosion over a period of time. But I was fortunate enough in my lifetime to be connected after a lot of soul searching with a little family, a very simple family from the Bronx. And these people
From the Bronx.
very, very strong people, very spiritual people. The parents, their parents, the parents' parents were very, very good Jewish people, very religious people. These guys were less that, but they certainly had all the strength and character that passed to them. And they were my instructors, especially the woman of the family, the matriarch, was a powerhouse, and she became my mentor, and we learned a lot together.
Mm-hmm.
We went on a journey, and it was a very spiritual journey, I have to tell you. And I learned a lot in that process, and I became aware of many, many things. So I'm not me. I have to say, Mayor, I'm not me.
How's that?
I'm energies that I'm representing other people, other energies. I'm
Right.
very, very blessed. That'll come out sometime in the future, and I'll talk to you directly about that. But there's a bit of a mystery to me. These words that I say are not totally my own, and they're very powerful. So anyway, I've been.
And when did you translate that into? It sounds like it was a spiritual journey, and you translated that into politics also.
Well, you see, God does care about what we're doing here, and He's, when we talk about God, I'm a lover of all righteous people. I must tell you. I mean, I have books of John Paul II. I have books of Mother Teresa. That's the Christian side. I have the Hebrew commentary of the Bible by Rashi. I have all sorts of influences here. The great Hindu masters are part of my loves. And so I'm connected in many, many ways. And and when I look at, I don't look at anything as secular any longer. We're all human beings, and God loves us all, and He cares about what happens to us. And with this country, He has a stake, because God is very connected from the very first, from the birth of our country, all the way through. We have been connected to God. Now, that people think that they're going to take us out without a response is foolhardy. I would say, be careful, fellas. We aren't. We have been inspired by our founders and by our religious habits and our morals and stuff. I remember a couple of times in my life when I was stunned by certain things. I remember when I was at school for my kids, little grammar school, and the principal of that school was a person who used to have them say the pledge in the morning and say the Lord's Prayer, which is a non-denominational prayer that anyone who believes in God can say, right?
Right.
And he was told not to say anything religious in the morning. I remember that day, and I remember it was like it stunned me and it hurt me terribly. And I thought, there's something really wrong here. This is what he's doing is wonderful for these children. And this was just an indication of the erosion of the subversion that was taking place
Right.
in schools. This was a beginning of the real fruits of it, So, then I remember one other time. I remember watching the Democratic convention, and our mayor Villaraigosa, good guy, Mayor Villaraigosa, stepped up to the podium and said, we want to include in the platform of the Democrat platform this year, whatever it was, the word of God, that we're dedicated to God, put that in the platform.
Right.
And to bring Jerusalem, bring the our embassy to Jerusalem. And he stood up and he said, all in favor say aye. It was one of those things where they sent him out, they just get this done, you know? And you heard aye, and then he said, all opposed, nay. And they said nay, and the nays were equivalent to the ayes, maybe more so. Mm-hmm. And he was a little stunned by that, and then he said it again. He said, let's do that again. and the same result. Then someone came out and whispered in his ear. This is all on, you can put this on, you can get it on YouTube. And it whispered in his ear, and he said, all right, let's do it one more time. It says, aye, nay, and it was just, and the nays were vigorous. You know, he said, the ayes have it. It's passed. Walks off. Yeah. So that was a turning point for me when they pulled God out of
right.
their thinking, and he stayed away too.
It's gone a long way since then, though. I mean, it's really we're at the point now where they want to do away with private education. They want to end the nuclear family.
Oh yeah.
They want to end police departments.
Yeah, sure. If you look at the dissidents have some of them, only a handful have really escaped the horror of communism, and it's a horror. Mm-hmm. And we have all the evidence, and we have every country that has been tried has turned to real violence against the people in misery, continuous misery. But the people who are selling this obviously aren't reading anything and aren't interested in the past. They're willing to make the same mistake again for us.
Now we'll take a short break. A good security system makes a family feel even more secure at home. Simply Safe does just that. It creates a secure home, and it's simple to operate. Simply Safe reinvented the home security industry years ago when they introduced a wireless system using Wi-Fi signals instead of running wires all throughout your house. That eliminates the need and expense for an installation crew. Simply Safe delivers you a pre-tested, pre-configured set of components that are easy to install. If you can remove crack and peel tape, you can install the system in less than 1 hour. 3 million families and counting in America rely on Simply Safe. Your doors and windows and rooms of your home will all be protected by the sensors and motion detectors. Their sound sensors and HD camera components as well. All of those parts are connected with wireless signals within your home, and once they're connected, you can activate Simply Safe's 24/7 monitoring service. All of that costs you just $14.99 a month with no contract to sign. That connects your system with the local police department for a fast response in the event of a home intrusion. It works in houses, condos, and apartments like mine. SimplySafe.com/Rudy is the site. You'll get a 60-day money-back guarantee and a free HD camera with your purchase. Just go to SimplySafe.com/Rudy and order it today. Don't wait. Thank you. Welcome back as we continue our interview with my good friend Jon Voight. Where do you think most of the American people really are, John? I mean, you see the protesters, and we even see American corporate leaders bending a knee when the national anthem is being played, and but where do you think the American people are?
There's no backbone out there, and the ones who are holding the fort. And I have to say, this president has been remarkable. I mean, I remember he had an interview with Roger Ailes at one point, and Roger said, have you ever considered becoming president of the United States? And this was way back. And he said, no, Roger. He said, we tell it like it is, you and I. They don't want us. Fact is, he does tell it like it is. And he holds the line for all of us. He's amazing. I have to say, I deeply admire this man. He's the man of the hour. He's the man who can lead us through this terrible, terrible horror that we're facing.
It's really an attack on our way of life. We get a complete attack on our way of life, our economic system, our political system, our religious beliefs, our constitution, just about everything about us. The way we constitute our, they don't like families of mothers and fathers. They think it subjects women to degradation.
For whatever reason they're using, they know what they're doing. They're attacking. This has been very planned out.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. It has been very planned out. But I think most Americans think it's spontaneous.
You read these documents for these dissidents that several people come out from the KGB, and they tell you exactly how they did it. Mm-hmm. You know, the supporting of the attacks on the various parts of the world where they want to intrude themselves into the other societies. They don't, this espionage thing with, microfilm and stuff like that and stealing, that's only 15% of their budget. The rest of their budget is directed toward going into these countries and, converting them.
Right.
To other techniques. And they have, their sights on the education system, on the making of movies out of Hollywood, California, which films are very important to them. So they have focused us very clearly, and we're seeing the fruits of their labor. They've been very, very clever. And what they do is they also look for people who are in complaint about their country.
Right.
They try to fan those flames and get that energy moving, and that's how they took over this Black Lives Matter, is from that. Exactly that. Marxists have used these events to take over these people and create an army of anger.
Well, how do you see the best way to combat it, John? What's the best way to make sure our country doesn't go too far in that direction and we keep us where we are?
We've got one big event coming up.
Yeah, we do.
That's how we combat it. What we have to do, of course, is we have to pay attention to what's being taught in our schools. So we have to find good people, the best people on our school boards. Mothers and fathers have to pay attention to what's being taught and step up and say, this is out of line. And, completely involve ourselves in just as we would do when our children are watching the wrong things on this cell phone that they have.
Right.
We have to be extremely alert. So everybody has to know what the stakes are. And the good thing that's going on now, as far as I can see, is that we are seeing all the bad behavior and damage and the things have come to the fore. So everybody's able to see it. Now, MSNBC, all the media has been completely perverted. And
it's
people to see these violent acts that are taking place with these so-called marches. These are violent attacks on communities, murders right in front of us, with people with sticks hitting people in the head and kicking them when they're down, and looting and all this bad behavior. That's the result of being accommodating this kind of personality, this kind of bad philosophy that we've been ingesting. So we've got to get back to proper rules of behavior. We really have to be alert, and we have to get good people into office. We have to be extremely active in this campaign.
How did we have both Hollywood and the media move so far in that direction, so that it's almost as if they don't want to listen to any other side of the argument? It's almost a tyranny that you must believe what's politically correct. You must say it in exactly the right way. Otherwise, you're a racist, you're a xenophobe.
So our freedoms, the great gift from our forefathers of freedom and the great light that this country is for the world of our freedoms has been attacked and overtaken. And now we have, it's a party line, just like the rest of the communist countries. We can see this is what's happening.
Right.
I mean, they targeted Hollywood. They targeted the media. If you look at the media and say, I'm not really, you're probably much more knowledgeable than I am, but I know if you follow the money there, you see that the people they're all connected to the political people, the Pelosi's and the Schumers and these people are connected and to people in the media. Family relationships, money relationships. See, George Soros. Definitely, there are people who have huge amounts of money and are supporting all of this.
And Jon, in your way, how do you combat it?
Well, first of all, I combat it with a smile, good spirits, just the way you do. I don't let it get me down, and I say prayers for this country, and I try to encourage all the people that can make the difference. And I certainly salute all the wonderful heroes. I look at the Republican Party now has many great figures, very gifted people. I know some of these people personally. I'm impressed with them. When I see these people, they're so eloquent and they're so clear-minded, and they all just happen to have a spiritual root as well. And they love this country, and it's just great to see that.
I worked for Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
And of course, I'm a very close friend of Donald Trump's. And I always say the two things that they have most in common, they have this incredible love for this country.
You bet.
It's very natural. They're very willing to express it. Every once in a while when Trump hugs the flag, I know all the left goes crazy.
Yeah.
But all the rest of us love that. We love to see that emotion, that little extra emotion about loving America.
And you can tell when he says, God bless the United States, he knows what he's talking about. He's extremely sincere in his love for God and this country. It's beautiful to see.
Well, Jon, you have, over the past couple of decades, actually played a big role in all of our Republican campaigns. I've seen you so many places, and you campaign with me. Are you up for it again?
That was the greatest. Yeah, of course, I would do anything for this. For this November coming up. It's a turning point. We must all do everything we can, everything we're asked to do.
And then I have to ask you before we go, professionally, when are we going to get to see you again? We got used to seeing you on Ray Donovan. You were the only bad guy I ever liked. I mean, you played this really bad guy. I won't explain the whole thing. People have to watch it, but there was a certain kind of sympathy with you.
I say to people, that's the real me.
No, it's not.
I said, watch it. We got to watch it. But anyway, yeah. Well, we're going to have a 2-hour show that will kind of put a finality onto it. So
a 2-hour Ray Donovan.
2-hour. It's going to be a 2-hour movie. Yeah.
Oh, good. And now, what about other things?
And I've got a movie coming out on Hallmark. Very nice movie. JL Ranch 2. It's the second one with a very good team of people, and I've seen it. It's very good, and that's going to be coming out shortly. And then I hopefully will go to work next month on a movie. We'll start getting into into production.
Well, good, Jon, and I expect to see a lot of you this fall.
Yeah,
we need you, Jon. You've been a real godsend for the Republican Party, the conservative cause, and for the president. And we can't take it for granted. We have a very big battle here.
You bet. You bet.
But I'm glad you're optimistic, John. And I'm glad you're in such good health. I'll see you really soon.
That's great.
Jon Voight, the great Jon Voight. Thank you, John. Well, that was a really fascinating interview with a man who's developed, and you can see his own point of view. It comes from a spiritual base, intellectual base, but also his experience, and I think it was wonderful that he shared it with us. And we'll be back with you a couple of days with another episode of Rudy Giuliani's Common Sense. Thank you.